Hello everyone, my name is Otavio and this is the Galilean Library. Today I'm going to be doing my January wrap-up and my February TBR. And I haven't posted a video in a while and I'm sorry about that, but I was on a trip to Brazil to visit friends and family, and initially I was planning to film videos there, maybe film videos in Brazilian bookstores and in different locales perhaps, you know, something interesting, but I really didn't have any time. I barely had time to read, but I am happy that I did finish 3 books in the month of January. So here are the books I finished. First off is The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Robert Heinlein. And I read this one with Bree from Stories from the Shelf. And this book is about a revolt in a lunar colony trying to free itself from the Earth government. And I really enjoyed this book. There's a lot of themes here, especially about international relations, crop prices or commodity prices, and trying to free itself from a bigger government, and sort of that David against Goliath situation, I think. And it was a fantastic read. Lots and lots of themes to pick apart in this book. So if you like international relations or politics or political science, you will definitely enjoy this one. So great book. And it's also a little bit of a cyberpunk environment. It's the future, there's a lot of technology, but it's kind of dirty and borderline criminal, especially the characters in The Moon. They live in a society that's not like our society in its entirety. It's more about the downtrodden and the underdog. And I really enjoyed that sort of theme in this book. Fantastic read. 4 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend this one. Next I read A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, and this was a reread for me. The second time I read this particular one in the series, and I loved it just as much as the first time I did. And I think it was great as a reread because I can actually see the details and things to come in the series through certain things that characters say, and you can really understand how much the author really planned these series. And you know, it's just a fantastic read, one of my favorite series of all time, and a great introduction to that series. So I really recommend this one to anyone who hasn't read it yet. And if you are intimidated by this book, fear not. I think you should read it and just take it slowly, you know, like read a little bit each time, maybe read something else in between. No problem at all. By the time you reach the middle, you'll be so invested that you're probably going to be like devouring it until the end. That's how I did it the first time, and I do not regret it. I love this series, so 5 out of 5 stars, of course. And on my way back to Brazil, my flight was cancelled because the blizzard here in the Northeast in the US. So I was at the airport for a long time. So I picked up Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and this was actually an audiobook, so I listened to that one at the airport. From beginning to end was a long reading period, and this was even before I got on the plane, so big waiting time at the airport. Anyway, I really enjoyed it, but not as much as I thought I would. It's interesting and it's thrilling, but I mean, I understand the characters are unlikable, and I actually like that. I thought that was interesting, especially Amy. But I just couldn't really understand their motivations very much. I didn't relate. I guess that's a good thing if they're batshit crazy. But it's not really it. The point is, I didn't really believe in their motivations. I thought it was a little bit like crazy for the sake of being crazy, and I don't know, maybe I just don't get that much, and I don't know, it just felt odd to me, and I sort of enjoyed the ending, but it wasn't satisfactory at all. It was kind of like, it left me thinking, so that's why I liked it a little bit, but it also didn't really conclude anything, so I don't know, I just was expecting for something bigger at the end. It felt like it was building up and it didn't really amount to anything. But it was still thrilling, it was still good, so 3 out of 5 stars. During the month of February, I'm taking part in the BookTube Reading Buddies Fantasy February Challenge. So, only fantasy books, lots and lots to read, and I have a huge TBR that I have no idea how I'm going to get through. So, let's get to it. First off, I have City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett, and I am looking forward to this one. I got this a while ago, and I've heard so many great things about this book. It's sort of an urban fantasy book with a murder mystery sort of theme, I've heard, so I'm not entirely sure, but I'm really looking forward to this. Next up, I have The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison, and I've heard great things about this book as well. I don't know much about it except that it is a royal court intrigue sort of novel, and that really appeals to me. I just don't know anything else about it, but with that said, I really am looking forward to read this one. I'm kind of thinking it might be the first thing I read during this month. We'll see. I also have The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, and this is the first book in the Stormlight Archive series, and I've been meaning to read this for a long time. I thought I was going to read it during the winter holidays, and I just didn't, unfortunately, so maybe this is the time to pick it up. However, I'm leaving this one for the end of the month after I've read everything else, because I know it's a behemoth, it's huge. So I might not be able to finish this as a part of the challenge, so I'm not really counting it as a part of the challenge. And if I do, great. If I don't, it's fine. So I'll try to read this as soon as I can, but only after I finish everything else, and I might not finish in February, but I'll let you guys know what I think about it for sure. Next one is Fables Volume 1, and this is a graphic novel about, I think, fairy tale characters in the real world. I think that's the premise. I haven't received my copy yet, it's still in the mail. Damn you, Amazon. And I'm really looking forward to it, and it's probably going to be one of the first ones that I read as well, because I've heard so many great things about it, and it's time I start it. Next one is another graphic novel, and it's Pretty Deadly, Volume 1 as well, and I have no clue what it's about. I read it has something to do with magical realism and with a Western setting, so I don't know exactly what this is gonna be like, but I'm excited to read it as well. I'm also reading the short story, The Water That Falls on You From Nowhere by John Chu, and the premise of this short story is that whenever you lie, a lot of water falls from nowhere into you, and the amount of water that falls depends on the intensity of your lie, I guess, so this should be very interesting. And as an audiobook, I'm going to listen to Half a King by Joe Abercrombie, and I hear this is a toned down version of his very notorious Grimdark, so I don't know how it is, but I haven't read Abercrombie before, so I can't really compare it to anything, but I think it's a good first book to start with him, so I'm excited for that. Well, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and if you want to see more, please subscribe, and also follow me on Twitter at Galilean Books, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!